Hello everybody and welcome to part 10, the last part, our top 10 games of all time for 2023. Make sure you smash the like button and let's get into this. Subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. What's your number 10, Janela?
My number 10 is Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Alright, I expected that to be in your top 10.
So we've talked about this in a previous video, but this game is a social deduction game. Everybody gets assigned their role. There's a variety of different roles that somebody can have. So you'll have either be a detective or you'll be a murderer. And then there's also the forensic scientist. So the forensic scientist will be in charge of kind of giving clues. This is like Clue on steroids almost, I would say. Because you're trying to figure out who the person is, what their murder weapon that they used was, and then evidence left behind. And those are signified by red and blue cards. So,
And one of you are the murderers.
So the forensic scientist is gonna be the one giving clues, or he can't talk or say anything. They just switch out clues. I think they can do a total of 4 extra clues. Well, not extra clues, but like they'll take one out and replace it if they feel like one clue isn't helping at all. Throughout the game, it's kind of a discussion of who you think is the one, what weapon they used, and the evidence that they left behind based on the clues that the forensic scientist is giving. So it can be kind of conflicting if somebody has like similar things in their pile compared to somebody else. So yeah, whoever the detectives will win if the murderer is caught. Oh, and the murderer will win if he gets away with it. How many rounds are there?
Well,
up until they use their guest tokens. That's what it is. So yeah, there's guest tokens. So each person will have a token and have an opportunity to take a guess on who they think did it. So yeah, that is my number 10, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
my number 10 is an Uwe Rosenberg game. It was my number 2 last year, so it dropped 8 spots. A Feast for Odin. In A Feast for Odin, you start with, I think, 7 workers, and there's 7 rounds in the game. You get 1 worker extra round, but you have to feed your people. And every other round you get a harvest, so you get food every other round, but then between that you're going to have to get more food to feed your people. But anyway, in that game, you have 64 different worker placement locations.
64, you heard that right.
Yeah. You have them divided into forts. So the first spot the first row will only require 1 worker, but it's not as strong as the second row, third row, and fourth row, which require 2, 3, and 4 workers. But there's so much you can do with. So that game is Viking themed. So anything Vikings can do, you can do in that game, like pillaging or fishing or hunting or building boats, using the boats to go places, exploring. There's so much to do. Building sheds, filling your sheds with stuff, building houses, all that stuff. There's a lot. And everything has upgrades, so you can start with yellow tiles that go into red, and then they go into green, and then go into blue. On your player board, you have a ton of -1 points that you need to fill out, and you can only put greens and blues, and then the greens can't be touching each other, so you want to upgrade those to blues so you can put them wherever you want. You can also use money for literally anything in that game. If you want to fill spots or feed your people with money, you can do that too. But that is my number 10, A Feast for Odin.
My number 9 is Gloomhaven. This is a pretty popular game, so I'm sure all of you guys have heard of it. I really enjoy this game because Michael and I get to spend a lot of time together with this game. We have to set up the game player boards, get up the scenarios, figure out who we're fighting, which cards we want to pick. So it can get pretty time consuming, which is why we haven't played it as much lately, because it takes a while to get everything, like I said, set up. But it's really fun to be able to play it together because I have my own choices that I can make, and then he has his own choices that he's going to make on how we're going to take those monsters out. So, and then I really enjoyed the what do you call them? The stories.
Oh.
And then they give you an option A or B to pick, and then you have an outcome. But depending on what you pick, the back of the card will tell you whether it's a good or bad outcome. And it can kind of change the course of how you're going with the game. So yeah, that is my number 9, Gloomhaven.
My number 9 is new to the list this year, and we just got the expansion for it just today. We'll have an unboxing for that. But anyway, it is Flamme Rouge, bicycle racing game where you get 2 people, 1 sprinter, 1 rouleur, and the rouleur is kind of like your regular medium pace guy, kind of goes medium pace, while the sprinter goes either super slow or super fast. And you really want to go about 2nd or 3rd place most of the game so you can stay behind the leader, because if you're in the lead at the end of every round, you get an exhaustion card, which slows you down. And you get to draft. If you fall 1 space behind the bike in front of you, you can go 1 extra space, so it's nice to gain that extra space without using it. And then with the advanced rules, you got uphills and downhills and all sorts of stuff. Really simple game though, and really fun. Just play one of your cards from your deck. From each deck, you get a separate deck for each bike that you have, and yeah, you play them.
Yep.
Anyway, that is my number 9, Flamme Rouge.
My number 8 is 7 Wonders Duel.
Oh wow, that was high.
This is another game that Michael and I have played a lot, and since it's a duel game, it's a really good game for both of us, since majority of the time it's just us 2 playing, so it's a really good game for us to spend our time on. We mostly enjoy this game because, like we've stated in a previous video, there's a variety of different ways you can win this game too. You could go military route, you can go the science route, you can go the points with the blue cards, and then also you can build. Each of us get 4 wonders. Each of us get 4 wonders, and then the player that builds 4 wonders first, obviously the other player can only build 7 because it's 7 wonders. So, and then yeah, some of those wonders can give you some cool little point. Back to my brain. Some of the wonders can give you like a little boost, so you can get like points off of them, coins. You get to like redo another or do an extra turn type of thing. So they're pretty cool abilities too. And then yeah, if nobody wins the science military route, it's whoever gets the most points at the end of the game. So yeah, pretty fun game. I enjoyed it a lot. That is my number 8, 7 Wonders Duel.
My number 8 is new to the list today, or this year, and it looks like it's my top push your luck game. It's the only back building game that we have played. It is the Quacks of Quedlinburg, and for some reason I really like this game, even though it's literally just luck. But there's like other stuff you got with it. You're pushing your luck. You get to buy chips every round and throw them in there, but so it makes it easier to get a little farther and farther every time, but you got to know when to stop because you might blow up if you put too much of the cherry bombs. But really, you're just trying to get the most points at the end of the game after 9 rounds, and you have about 8 different chips you can buy from, and I don't know how much comes with the base game because we got the mega box, but we have 6 different ways that each of the regular chips work. So the replayability is insane if you randomize those. And then we also have event cards, and we have 2 expansions to add alchemists and witches and all sorts of other stuff. So it's a really fun game. You haven't played with the expansion yet, have you? Huh. So we're gonna have to do that. Anyway, that is my number 8, the Quacks of Quedlinburg.
My number 7 is Meadow.
Oh.
I think this is one of the newest games that have made it in my top 10 just because I really enjoyed the artwork, like the mechanisms of the game, and
you won. I really thought, ooh, I'm going to win because I won my first time playing, and then I don't even think it was close, was it?
I don't remember.
You beat me by like 8. I think, if I remember right, it was like 58 to 48 or something, maybe. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I just know I lost.
So you have like a bunch of cards that will be put out on this board that you can buy from to kind of build your deck. We both start with the same cards in our hands, and then you'll start playing them based on the cost that you need to pay. You also have another tracker over here that's like what is it? Like you move. No, you don't move at all.
Well, it's a round tracker, and then halfway through, the south cards turn into north cards.
Yeah, so that, and then on that track too, if you have like those symbols showing on your cards that you've played, you can get points off of those. Whenever you play like lands or animals, depending on what you play, the next card that you play, you'll make sure that you're able to play it based on what they cost. So you could play like a tree, and then, I don't know, like a frog or something, and then another animal that requires a frog symbol type of thing, a bird, and so you're just trying to like build it, but then at the same time you're trying to also show different symbols, because then different cards will require those different symbols. So yeah, just trying to get the most points by the end of the game, and apparently I did okay. So that was my number 7, Meadow.
My number 7 is new to the list this year, and it is not my top racing game. That might be a spoiler, but anyway, it is a brand new game. I guess it came out at the end of last year. It is Heat Pedal to the Metal. And fun fact, we just bought this game. Are you surprised this is not higher?
I don't know.
Oh, you made a face.
You said that it's not your top racing game.
No, you'll see. Anyway, in Heat Pedal the Metal, it basically, to me, is the Formula D killer, because it's like Formula D with cards, so it's way more streamlined. Everybody takes simultaneous turns, and then after they reveal their cards, then they move their cars, the front car, and then the second place, and all so on. But you do have to stop in each corner at least one time. Or you don't stop in the corner, but you can't go faster than the speed limit. That's what it is. So if it's showing a 5, if you're moving faster than 5 through the corner, you have to take a heat card out of your pile into your deck for every space that you went. And if you go through all your heat cards, then you spin out, and you have to go down to first gear, so it slows you down a lot.
Ooh.
But there's no player elimination, no wrecking out, as far as I know. I haven't went through all the advanced rules. I have went through like the medium advanced rules, but the basic rules are really easy. And then adding some of the upgrades to your cars, pretty easy to do, because it's literally just grabbing a card that goes like +5 instead of your normal +4s or whatever, or one that does 1 or 5 or stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty nice game. It's really fun. The bots are really hard to go against from what I've done so far, and then there's some weather events and sponsorships and all this other stuff that you can deal with if you wanted to go crazy and even do a campaign. But that is my number 7, Heat Pedal to the Metal.
I haven't played this game yet, and if you can't tell, I was pretty pumped about this, so I was super excited when our local game store was able to get it in stock.
Yeah.
So as soon as they got it in stock, he's like, let's go.
This was the
go get the game.
second printing of it, I think, and it's selling out everywhere like instantly.
Yeah, so you guys will have to watch out for that unboxing video for Heat. My number 6 is Dominion.
Oh, higher than me? I had it at 11. Wow,
Slightly.
that's weird because I want to play it and you don't. Seems like. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
You like it that much?
I honestly was a little surprised it made it this high too.
Wow.
But yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with this game, it is a deck building game, and I feel like this game is such a hit because of the variety of different cards that you can get, and then there's also expansions too. So every time you play, you have different cards you can play with. The basis of the game is everybody starts with the same deck of cards. You'll play 5, and then depending if you play money cards, you can buy cards, or depending on what cards you have, you're able to have extra actions. And then yeah, you're slowly just building your deck. And then also with the money that you have, you can also buy different money cards to be able to get more money to buy bigger cards. Because if you're able to get up to like 8 coins, I think it is, you can get the province, and that's 6 points. So that's the most amount of points you can get a turn. So a lot of times everybody will go for those. So if you're able to get up to 8 coins, but the only way you can get up to 8 coins is by buying gold and maybe silver. I think you only bought gold one time and it worked out for you.
Yeah, we had you were playing the route trying to go with I think it's the merchant that uses silver. And I did not go that route. I went the market route and then gold. Yeah. I went gold in the market.
Yeah,
that one is literally plus an action, plus a card, plus a coin or something, and just keeps going.
Yeah.
And so I bought a ton of those.
That game was kind of crazy because there's a bunch of cards that will say plus an action and stuff. So you literally get the cards and you'll get plus a card, plus an action, plus a card, plus an action, then you draw more. And then it could be more of those, plus a card, plus an action, plus a card. Then that's how you slowly get more money into your hand too, to be able to buy the province. And it's crazy.
I don't know why that's so addicting. For some reason, that's what makes the game fun.
Yeah.
I think it's the first popular deck builder that's ever came out. It might not be the very first one, but it is old. It's 2008. But it's a fun game.
Yeah. So yeah, whoever gets the most amount of points, probably the person who gets the most provinces will win the game. So yeah, that is my number 6, Dominion.
Wow. I'm surprised on that because that's a game that she has higher on her list that I think I win more than you. Which is surprising. You just have beat me in it though.
Yeah.
My number 6 is new to the list this year, and I know it's already 6, but for some reason I always have had fun playing this, even when I lost, because I was undefeated until then.
Cascadia.
Cascadia. I could see it going up. I don't know why I like this game so much. But it's so easy. It's just draft one of the 4 tiles and animals and put them on your board on a turn. That's literally it. And then you have different ways they score per game. There's 4 different animal tile or animal cards, and you just randomly shuffle those and throw those on, and that's the ones you play with. And last time we played, I got wrecked. I got last.
He only got 79 points, guys.
That was my lowest scoring game. But I have had a game where I scored like 105, so that was cool. But I think normally it's usually around 90, maybe 95 points.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about it is it scales perfectly because you get 20 turns no matter how many players you're playing. You just add that many more tiles to the game. So it really doesn't play any differently. The only thing I think with more players is you gotta watch out if they're doing the same strategy you are, because that animal is gonna be gone by the time it comes back to your turn.
Mm-hmm.
But with 2 players, it's like, all right, I can see they're doing this and they can see I'm doing this, so I know they're not gonna grab this one.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But I really like the game. I don't know why people say Calico's better, but I think Cascadia's better so far. I've only played Calico once, so I need to give it another chance. Mm-hmm. But that is my number 6, Cascadia.
My number 5 is our first crossover of this video.
Cascadia or Quacks?
Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Wow. You've only played like twice?
No, we played it quite a bit.
We have?
I swear we played it more than twice.
I can only think of 2 times.
Maybe it was only
Wow. That's pretty good for 2 plays.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said earlier, this game is a push your luck type of game. You're buying some tokens to put into your bag, and then you're hoping that you don't get the cherry bombs and explode. So I feel like I like this game a lot just because I've been super lucky. I think
You've won both times, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. I think I've only exploded like a total of 3 times. And that's a lot of times and I'm pushing it. Like, it's crazy. But then the times that I did explode, it's like cherry bomb, cherry bomb, cherry bomb. 1, cherry bomb.
I think
explode.
You have to push your luck to win because somebody's going to and they're going to get lucky. So you have to push it.
That's probably what it is I just get lucky because when I
Maybe.
push it, I do it. I have been seeing, though, on Board Game Geek, people post that they were, like, upset that when they play the game, they have, you know, you can move your teardrop-looking token, like, on the board around to where your starting position is a lot better. But even with that, they drew, like, all cherry bombs and just like 1 other extra tokens.
Blew up really fast.
But they did say they still enjoyed the game, so the game's still really fun. It just kind of sucks And then there's also cool catch-up mechanisms for rat tails. So that kind of, if somebody's really far ahead in points, people behind them can get rat tails depending on how far behind they are. So I think the most we got up to was like 6.
I've seen 12 before in a game, which was insane.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah. They didn't have a chance to come back. There's no way. But
So yeah, the rat tail just kind of lets you go further on the board. So hopefully, in hopes to get you a little bit more caught up to have more money to spend, and then also get more points. So yeah, how many rounds total?
9.
9 rounds total. I want to keep playing more of this game because I obviously enjoy it.
Teach you the expansions, then they add way more replayability, but they also add a lot more strategy because
I'm just kidding.
there's actually choices you have to make with the expansions. But they're both pretty small to add. And then the event deck, because I don't think we've played with the events yet, they either add good things or bad things, but they happen to like everybody. Like they'll be like, add another cherry bomb to everybody's bag, or I'll give you a choice. It's take a cherry bomb out of your bag or get a free number 2 or 4 token. So yeah, those choices get really tough because then you're like, oh man.
Me, I'd probably take out the cherry bomb.
I think that usually happens.
Yeah. Anyways, that is my number 5, Quacks of Quedlinburg.
My number 5 is somehow new to the list, but we must have barely got it after I made my list last year. Yeah, and it was probably the most popular game of last year, I think. Ark Nova. Ark Nova is a game where you're building a zoo, and yeah, I think it's because we played it right before we made our list too. Was it right after or right before?
Right after, probably.
Oh, well then it should go up even more maybe. I don't know. It's really fun to play though, because you got so much going on. The only thing is it just takes a little bit too long to play, I think.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We're going to play this in a tournament later this year, so hopefully it doesn't take all day.
I think maybe the trackers just need to be a little bit less. Or like...
Closer together?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Or, yeah, I don't know. They got to be a way they can just slightly streamline it. I guess if you like buy something, you can say, okay, your turn, I'll just figure out where I'm going to place this while you do your turn. So, you can kind of make it faster.
Yep.
But it's fun. You get to basically every card is either a sponsorship or any type of animal you can think of that's at a zoo. And if it's an animal and you have an enclosure, you can put them in there, and you got 5 different actions you can do on a turn. And you can build association, which is like using your people to visit universities, I guess is what it represents. And then you got play sponsors, so it's like sponsors are helping you, and then for whatever they're sponsoring, that can make the card cost cheaper or give you bonus points for certain things at the end of the game. There's buildings, so you can build pavilions and kiosks that will give you either money or points every round, or not every round for the pavilions, that's just 1 point for the game. And then your enclosures where you put your animals in. And playing an animal is another one, and drawing cards is the last action, which seems like it's the weakest to me, but maybe not. I don't know, it's hard. It's hard to tell. Yeah. But that is my number 5, Ark Nova. They just added this to Board Game Arena too, so I'm curious to play it on there to see what happens. Because they put time limits on those games, so you have to play within 2 minutes each turn, so that might...
So it kind of decreases the analysis paralysis.
Uh-huh.
My number 4 is Codenames.
Oh, wow.
So this is a party game that I really enjoy just because I guess I like being able to get in sync with the clue giver and be able to guess the right clue or guess the right word based on their clue. And then when that happens, you're just like, yeah.
It's the game that I like to play both sides almost equally. Like, I don't know.
Honestly, I haven't played as a clue giver till just recently because I was always scared that I'd be terrible at it. But we were clue givers for different teams together, and I barely beat him because I was able to combine, what was it? Dog.
It was like a lot. It was like 3 things together. Wasn't it expensive? Was that you or was that somebody else?
No, that was Darren.
Oh. He
It was
beat me
like
too.
dog and it's dog and compound, and I said shelter, so I was able to shelter times 2, so I was able to tie those two together and have my team guess it correctly right in the nick of time.
And I only needed one to win, so we were gonna win next round if they did.
Yep. So that came in clutch. But yeah, this is a super fun game. I really enjoy it. And it's a lot funner with a bigger group of people. But even with just your family, I feel like we had tons of fun.
Yeah, I think as long as you have four is the minimum. I think the box says you could play at 2. It's a liar. 4 is like the minimum. Because there's like a variant you can play, but it's not as good. If you're going to play shorter amount of people, duet's probably better. But I would say the box says 2 to 8 players, I think. I would say 4 to 12. I think 12 is good because you can have up to 5 people on a team. After that, it's like kind of worthless to have more people because somebody's not even going to talk.
Yeah, that's true.
But you could definitely have more than 8.
I think it's so funny because as a clue giver, when you're the clue giver and you give the clue and you have people that will like pipe up and be like, oh, I think it's this, and you're like, yes. And then somebody else will pipe in and they'll be like, no, I think it's this. And then they'll be like, oh. So then they were right the first time, but then when other people start piping in,
they change their mind.
They change their mind, and then you're like, no. I think I almost had somebody guess the assassin, and as a clue giver too, it's hard because you're trying to like make sure that you don't get your. As a clue giver, it can become kind of hard because you're trying to make sure that you give your teammates the right clues to be able to guess your clues, but then also making sure that they don't coincide with your opponent's clues, and then also you're trying to get your teammates to not guess the assassin. And one time we were both the clue givers, and the clues just like collided so much, and I didn't realize, like I was so focused on making sure that mine didn't collide with his, that it collided with the assassin, and they were so close to guessing it, and I was like, no, but then they didn't, but we lost the game anyway. I think with the tournament, the very, very first round, you guys guessed the assassin, remember? For the New Year's thing.
And we came back?
Yeah, you guys came back.
Just so that I could take another hour to lose the next game.
Yeah. So yeah, that is my number 4, Codenames.
Nice. My number 4 was number 6 last year. It went up even though we haven't played it, but I'm really looking forward to getting the second edition that came out on Kickstarter. It's not quite in print yet. I think it's going to be around October or September this year, but it is Race Formula 90, and that is like the most simulation racing game out there. I think I still like it more than Heat even. Heat is like more the arcade, I want to play a fast game. Race Formula 90 is like, I like racing, and so I want it to be realistic. We got weather, we got pick of tires, yellow flags, you can crash out. It's got tons of robots that some of them are fast, so like even if you're playing a 2-player game, you put all those robots on, you can play up to like 9 cars on track at a time or something. Which makes it really fun because it takes like extra to pass it, but then they pass you back, and then you're like, oh, now I got to do an extra to pass. So it makes it fun even if you're losing too, because you're like, well, at least I'm beating half the other bots.
Yeah.
Like if you're just playing a racing game where there's just 2 cars, it's like, oh, I'm in last. This is boring. So I don't know. I really like that game for what it is. That's my number 4, Race Formula 90. I don't think that game made your list.
Yes, it did.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. It was actually where did it go? 30.
Huh.
My number 3 is Le Havre.
Wow, that's high. Really?
Apparently.
You get angry like every time we start this game. And then at the end of it, you're like, calm down. And you literally go through a wave of emotions playing that game, it seems like.
Maybe that's why it's high on this, because it's like, like so stressful, and then at the end I'm like, oh, okay, I did good.
Makes you remember it more.
Yeah. So this game, you start off with 5 coins and a coal to begin with, and then each turn a little tile will get flipped over that will provide resources that you're able to grab. At the very beginning of this game, you're kind of limited to the choices of gathering resources or going to a build action to build some buildings. But then after that, once you and your opponent have started building buildings, you can go to them as an action and take those actions. And if you do your own, they don't cost anything, but if you do go to your opponents, they can cost either food or coins to use them. And then every time you build them too, they'll have a cost on the card that will, or money on the card that will be worth points at the end of the game. So at the end of the game, whoever has the most amount of points is the winner. Another cool aspect of the game is you can buy ships, and they can be worth points and food for the rest of the game. So it makes it a little bit easier to feed your people. So yeah, that is my number 3, Lahav.
My number 3 was number 9 last year. It's moved up the list even though we played it like once. And that is Gloomhaven.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I don't know how it jumped up there. But we started playing it more on the computer than on a board just because it takes like an hour to set up a scenario. So it's another good thing about a board game table like this is we can leave it set up underneath. Then we don't have to set up as much and take everything out because the box is like 20 pounds worth of stuff and there's so much different things. There's so much different monsters and all sorts of stuff in that game. Yeah. But the aspects that I like the most out of that is leveling up and unlocking new cards because they get stronger. But then also, which we didn't really make it too much later on in the game, when you start getting money, it's very expensive. But you can start getting stickers to put on your cards to make them even more powerful. You like buy them. And I think to get there you have to, well, this is kind of a spoiler actually, so but it's an older game, so I guess you can spoil it now. But you have to beat a certain thing to unlock that aspect, I guess. Yeah.
I guess that is another cool thing that I kind of forgot to mention was once you meet your like character goal, you can switch to a different character, so that's pretty cool.
And you always unlock a new one too. That's how you unlock the other characters. I think there's like, you get 6 to start with and there's like 18 in the box or something. So you have a lot you can unlock. The crazy thing is if you play the whole game, you're probably only going to play half of it to finish the game. And then the other half is like a different route you didn't go.
Yep.
So it's like almost you can play it again.
Yeah.
But that is my number 3, Gloomhaven.
My number 2 is another crossover in this video. It is Cascadia.
Wow. 2?
Number 2. Like you said, this is
I thought you already named it earlier.
This is a new game that we started playing just recently, and I think we've only played it like 3 times. We don't own it still.
We've played it like 5 times. Yeah,
do we own it now?
Yeah, it's right down there.
Oh yeah, I forgot we played it here too. It's baby really bad.
Oh yeah, that's why you forgot about it.
But anyway, this game, like you said earlier, you'll have some lands, tiles that you can put animal tiles on, and then you're scoring for both lands and animals. I feel like I found out the last game though that it's a little bit, if you're able to, it's a little bit better to go for lands.
If you can get the most,
yep.
Those bonus points.
That's how the person that won the last game won, is she got like all the bonus points for all the different lands. She didn't get the most for animals, but she got like a ton of bonus points because she got the
biggest lands in either 3 or 4 of the 6. Which was
4,
3 bonus points
I
for
think
each
I remember
one.
you saying she got like 12 bonus points from that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and I thought I was gonna win because I had
the best animals.
Bunch of birds. I had 2 groups of bears.
Yeah. So it's just 20 points for the bears.
Fish, but I did block myself quite a bit sometimes with the land because I was like, "Ooh, they connect here," so then I'd put it there, and then I'd look at it later and be like, "What the heck? They didn't connect right."
I know, I've done that before too.
So that kind of sucked, but yeah, still a very fun game for us to play, and I'm excited to keep trying out all the different types of variants that
I don't know
we
why
can put in.
They need an expansion though, because I'm scared it's gonna like get overplayed and then slowly go down. But
yeah.
So far, for how simple it is, it's addicting to play for some reason. That's crazy that it's higher on your list, because I thought I liked it more than you.
That is my number 2, Cascadia.
My number 2 was number 3 last year, so It has went up 1. And it is a Stonemaier game that we have expansions for that we have not played yet because we need people because it's not amazing at 2 players, but man, if you can play this with like 4 or 5 players. We have not even tried it with 6 or 7 because you need the expansion for that. We haven't played with the expansions yet, but we really want to.
So if you want to play, tell us. I'm just kidding.
Side. Yeah, if you want to play any games online, we got Tabletop Simulator and Board Game Arena. You can let us know. We'll probably start a Discord soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that stuff's fun, but I don't know if Side's on there. I know it's on Tabletop Simulator. I have it on there because you have to buy it on there. Oh. But I bought it on there a long time ago. On Board Game Arena, I don't think they have it, but I haven't checked. But anyway, Scythe is a really fun engine builder. Did you have it on your list already?
Yes.
A long time ago?
17.
Well, I guess that's okay. But this game's crazy. You get a player board for a certain character and then a building engine board. I don't know what you want to call it. A special board for your like type of industry, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know. Because some of them are called agricultural, some of them are called industrial and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Engineer board, I don't know. But anyway, on that, it's an action selection game. You have 4 actions to select from. You just move your pawn from one of those actions onto a different one. You do the top action, and then if you can afford the bottom one, you pay for it and do the bottom action too. The whole point of the game is to get the most points, but there's just so much to it that makes it more fun. I mean, you got popularity, you got some battling of your big mech robots fighting each other. You got workers that get resources, but once you get a lot of workers, you have to pay them. Yep. It's kind of interesting.
Yep.
It's really fun, though. I really like that game. Yeah. So that is my number 2, Scythe.
My number 1, you probably know exactly what
you know what my number 1 is, too.
Yeah. My number 1 is Ark Nova. I just really love this game. I think it's the best one that's done an amazing job with the artwork. And they've used, like, obviously realistic pictures, so it makes it just that much more like you're actually building a zoo. Like you said earlier, there's a variety of different things you can do on your turn. You have your 5 actions that you can do. You can get cards, you can buy animals. You can do an association, you can do sponsors, and then what's the one I'm missing? Buildings. So, yeah, everybody starts with their own like little zoo enclosure, and it's almost like Tetris 2. You're trying to make sure that you're making sure you leave enough spaces for bigger enclosures, but then like depending on the animals you have, you might need a lot of small enclosures that will go and make weird shapes. So sometimes you have to fill in like the spaces with kiosks, which aren't bad because you'll get coins at the end of each round. But yeah, you're trying to go up on not animal tracker, but point tracker, and then what's the other one? Conservation. And
then you have a reputation track too.
Yeah. So I feel like the biggest thing that I kind of go for is the conservation lately, because the conservation you get to move a lot faster than you do on the point tracker. So yeah, to be able to do the conservation, though, you have to be able to go to your association. It has to be on the highest power. And then you have to be able to have what the card says. So, like, there will be specific goals. So it'll either say you need, I don't know, animals from all different types of the world. So you'll need one in Asia, like Americas, like just from everywhere. And then other ones are like, you can, if you have an animal that's that takes up a lot of space, you can release back into the wild. Mm-hmm. So if you release it back into the wild and it's a pretty hefty animal, you release it, you get to move up on the conservation track. You have to move down on the points though, but then you also get to get that space open again so you can put another like big animal in that enclosure. So like, helps but hurts but helps. So it's super cool. And then even the player boards have different like abilities on them too. So I feel like I didn't really use mine very well at the end.
At all. I don't think you used a lot at all last game.
I used it once.
It was to discard cards to do something, I think.
It was to discard cards for money, I think it was what it was. And his was overpowered.
Yeah, I think it's the most powerful. I can't remember what it was. Oh,
It's
it was
if you put like a small enclosure, it can count up to 2 more.
Yeah,
So,
which is insane.
So he could put like a 2 enclosure and put a 4 enclosure animal in there. And so, yeah, he did really good on that though. So, yeah, that is my number 1, Arc Nova.
My number 1 was number 4 last year. It's one of 3 spots. And I swear every time I play it, it goes up because it's so fun. I don't know why it's not more popular than it is. But it is a worker placement game by Uwe Rosenberg. It is Le Havre. She already talked about it earlier. I can't believe you had it that high on your list. But on this game, you have 2 actions: grab resources or move your worker onto a building. And you can build your own buildings, and then you can use other people's buildings by paying their cost to use them. There's 8 different resources, but every resource has an upgraded side. So there's actually 16, and then there's money. And at the end of every round, you have to have enough food, and that slowly goes up more and more each round. So, I mean, the first round, depending on how many players, let's say you're playing with 2, I think it's like 5 food or 4 food you need at the end of the round. But by the time you hit the end of the game, it's like 20 food per person, so you got to make sure you have a lot of stuff. You can build ships about mid-game on to count as extra food for every turn, so that really helps a lot. Like, you'll be like, a wooden ship is like 3 more food every turn, so that's 3 food you don't have to try to get. And last time we played, I had like 17 food worth of ships at the end of the game. You built like 2 and I built 4 ships, I think.
Yeah.
But that was a good game for us. We both beat our high scores by far that last one we played.
Yeah.
It was a good one, but I really like that game. I like that you can go to other people's things even though you have to pay them. It's like, I know you're going to go there, so I'm going to go there first, even though it's your building, and pay you just so you don't do it if you want to do that. But she gets mad at stuff like that, which is why I'm surprised.
I'm like, stop it. That's where I'm gonna go.
Yeah. But that is my favorite game, my number 1 of all time, Le Havre.
What?
I don't know. So, was there any surprises that you've heard on my list that surprised you over this course of videos?
I think the biggest one was actually Arc Nova. I didn't expect it to be that high on your list. And Dutch Blitz.
Dutch Blitz was it 51?
I think it was 50 something.
51.
I expected it to be a lot lower.
That went down. You expected it to go down more?
Mm-hmm.
I expected Cascadia not to be your number 2 or 3 or whatever it was.
And number 2?
Le Havre to be number 3. I did not expect that, but I did expect Arc Nova to be your number 1. I am very surprised. We haven't had a single exact crossover, but we had like 4 that were one-offs. Because Splendor was 1, Spirit Island, Dune Imperium. Maybe that was it.
Yeah, maybe that was.
So 3 that were just by 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like my 35 and your 34 or something like that.
Something like that.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this series, and if you have a top 100 or at least top 10 games, you should let us know in the comments below. Smash the like button, ring the bell, all that good stuff. Click any of these cards. And we'll see you guys in the next one. We're going to have a ton of unboxings to do, so we'll see you there. Bye.
Bye.
Ah.